been bestowed upon with Mahatma Krishnadas Pal Memorial Award in 2024. And he happened to visit Ramakrishna Mission Sevasana Muzaffarpur recently, where he had an interaction with us in Vivekananda study circle, and Swami Vivekananda and Swami Bhavatmanand has invited him for today's lecture, and he so kindly accepted, and he is present on the screen. And to Sushwagat Bandyopadhyay, I would like to introduce you with the members present on a screen. Is Professor Rajesh Kumar Singh. He is Dean Faculty of Philosophy and Humanities, Patna University, and he had been HOD of Philosophy, also Patna University. On the screen is Mr. Dayanand Mishra Sahab, a retired IAS officer from Bihar Sarkar, and Ramnath Gupta ji. He had been the Deputy General Manager of Finance in Government of India, Mahasankar Prasad, and myself. I I appreciate all of you for today's program, and I I would like to introduce Mr. Sushwagat Bandyopadhyay, that Ramakrishna Mission Sevasana Muzaffarpur is organizing several socio-economic development program in Muzaffarpur with the help of these well-wishers who are present on the screen and in this webinar. You know, Suswagat ji, you had visited ashram, but you had visited in the night, so you could not see the big Netralaya, Vivekananda Netralaya, which Ramakrishna Mission is running, which is having nearly 20 to 25 doctors and nearly 1,000 patients daily gets their treatment here, and more than 10 to 15,000 operations per year are done here. And besides eye specialty, Ramakrishna Sevasana Muzaffarpur also offers treatment to its patients in skin care, bone, dental care, physical care, homeopathic care, and day care units with ICU, and many other facilities which patients can get here. These social service and healthcare performances by Ramakrishna Mission Sevasram are besides the other activities like Balak Sangh. Ramakrishna Mission Sevasram Muzaffarpur is also running a Balak Sangh with nearly 150 destitute children who are from very lower strata, economic lower strata of the society, and for that charity is being done by the help of donations like us and many national agencies, in which each student is given coaching up to class 10 and free coaching and free food and free dress and free learning materials like books, copy, and all kits for related with teaching and personality development. Besides that, Ramakrishna Mission Sevasana Muzaffarpur is also running personality development camps for women like Silai Katai Gunai centers in rural areas adjoining Ramakrishna Mission Sevasana Muzaffarpur, and that is called as Sharda Palli program, in which newly mothered women's and children are also giving nourished food, milk, medicines, and protein rich diet for the health and well-being of the newly born childs. So besides all these activities, Ramakrishna Mission Sevashram is running many spiritual and academic programs, one of which is this webinar also. You must be glad to know that today is the 926th webinar organized by Ramakrishna Mission in last 8 or 9 years. Besides that, face-to-face seminars are also organized. Recently, a national seminar on ideas of Vivekananda and vision of Vivekananda with regard to nationalism was organized in Ramakrishna Mission on 24th September for 3 days, in which the governor of Bihar had so kindly came here and inaugurated this function, and the function was graced by Mr. Rakesh Sinha, former member of Raj Sabha, Government of Bihar and professor of political science, Delhi University. And so many eminent speakers had participated for 3 days. Interaction was very lively and very educative. So this ashram is organizing a regular meeting of Vivekananda Study Circle. Vivekananda Study Circle is the most favored project of Swami Bhavatmanand Maharaj. So you must be glad to know that Swami Bhavatmanand Maharaj came to Muzaffarpur in 2007, and since last 18 years he is the secretary of this ashram and has given the facelift, the physical facelift of this ashram with more than 30 crore rupees of investment in buildings, roads, and different schemes, which was sponsored by Bhakt like you, I, and many government-related agencies, and through banks, LICs, and many agencies, which is being sponsored by income tax pay departments like Coal India, Oil and Natural Gas Agencies, ONGC, LIC, SBI, ICICI Bank, and the university. The Ramakrishna Mission Sevashram comes under the catchment area of BRA, Bihar University, which has a collaboration with Ramakrishna Mission Sevashram for academic programs, in which Ramakrishna Mission Sevashram gives value-based orientation program to teachers and students of Bihar University, and in lieu of that, Bihar University provides resource persons, teachers, and volunteers through NSS and other agencies for social work of Ramakrishna Mission and the social work done by Ramakrishna Mission with the help of Bihar University. Not only that, the many colleges of Bihar University also sponsors many programs of Ramakrishna Mission Sevashram Muzaffarpur, and recently held the national seminar on nationalism was sponsored by nearly 10 colleges, which gave their advertisements in the beautifully published souvenir by Ramakrishna Mission. You people might have got opportunity to go through that souvenir, and I am in a not in a position to get it to you physically, but if you happen to come to ashram any day or in nearby days, Swami Bhavatmanand happily gives it as a souvenir to every visitor who appreciates such academic programs. And today's program is also a extension of the activities of Ramakrishna Mission, which is likely to organize more big functions with collaboration and support from government agencies and individuals like us. So today's program is based on that philosophy, and Swamiji is busy somehow as General Secretary Maharaj of Ramakrishna Mission is likely to visit Muzaffarpur in a day or two. So he is busy with his coming, and all necessary arrangements are being made for his stay and for his care. So now the time has come that I invite Dr. Swagat Bandyopadhyay to deliver his lecture on Swami Vivekananda vision of nationalism, and I request Honorable Sushwagat Bandyopadhyay Sahab to deliver his lecture for 50 to 100, 50 to 60 minutes, and if need so, he may extend it for his comfort for another 15 minutes. Then we shall have interaction session, and the views of other participants to enrich the academic deliberation will also be invited. And now I switch over to Adarniye Sushwagat Bandyopadhyay for his presentation. Please come on, sir. Thank you. Please switch on your mic. Sushwagat ji, please switch on your mic. Your mic is off. Yes, thank you. It is now working.
Namaste. Before starting my lecture, I just pray for the God, the universal God. This is my principal pranam mantra. This is the principal content of our religion, better to say. Om Shahna Bhavetu, Shahno Bhunaktu, Shahabirjankaravabahi, Tejasminavaditam Astu, Ma Viddishabahi. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya Sarvadharmo Sharupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. Om Namah Janani Shaladang Devi Ramakrishnang Jagadguru Pada Padme Tayo Sikva Pranamami Muhammad. Namaste Jatirajaya Vivekananda Shuraye Satchit Shukha Sharupaya Shamine Tapaharine Jadevi Stuate Nityam Vididdha Veda Paragahi Shame Bhavatu Jyovagre Brahmarupa Saraswati. Just before starting my lecture, I would like to remember today is the 168th birthday of our nationalist scientist, Sir Jagadish Chandra Basu. And I convey my pranam to the dedicated scientist for the nation building process. And this is my paper is Vivekananda's Visions of Nationalism. Most revered Sannyasi Swami Bhavamananda Ji Maharaj, Professor R.C. Sinha, National Fellow, Indian Institute of Administrative Science, Simla, and today's President, Mr. Professor N.P. Sinha, the conductors of the program, and I'll also convey my pranam, namaskar, whatever you can say, to my beloved comrade for the Ram Krishna Vivekananda movement. Now, it is indeed a rare opportunity for me to extend my opinion on Swami Vivekananda's vision on nationalism. Swami Vivekananda is an icon of ignited my spirit of Indian nationalism. From 19th century to 21st century, each and every development of India is connected to the thinkings of Swami Vivekananda. Key concept of nationalism. By his leonine voice, he declares, I am Indian and every Indian is my brother. The poor, the ignorant, Brahmin, Pariah, everyone is my brother. When Indian football team or cricket team win the cricket match, we used to say, we love my India. My love, my pair, मेरा प्यार इंडिया का दरबार, भारत का दरबार, भारत, मेरा भारत महान, मेरा भारत महान. Vivekananda's magnificent advice, near to football, then through Gita, we want men of strong bicep, became the slogan of nationalist feelings. Inspired by young revolutionaries or patriot, joined gymnasiums, exercise club for making their body and devoted themselves for the national liberation struggle and nation in making process or nation building process. Before going to entire discussion, this is my personal experience, this is my personal thinking, this is my personal outlook. What is the concept of India? When I say I love my India, according to me, based on two different mantras. Sha vidvaja vimuktvaya. Let noble thought comes from everywhere. And sarvam khallidam brahma. Every living thing is a creatures of universe, is an existence of God or governing of our divinity, G-O-D, governing of divinity. In the combinations of two mantras, I may express each letter of India, I-N-D-I-A, reflects the greater visions of nationalism. I is equal to international. We always believe just not the centric idea of nationalism. We believe internationalism. N nations. D divinity. I innovativeness. A absoluteness. If I conjugate this word, if I assimilate or conjugate these letters, that the definitions of Indian nationalism is the greater extensions of unity. Our religion is one, that is called Manav Dharma or humanity. And humanity, innovative idea with the positive visions of brotherhood and fraternity. Brotherhood and fraternity, the great teachings, the great motto, great ideology, and the great declarations of human rights. India is not a nation on the basis of its territorial limitations and sovereignty. Swamiji's version, a nation is being made out of different races, out of a different castes and creeds. India is a nation where homogeneity and heterogeneity coexist. Our divinity is moral and spiritual purification for the service of humanity. A real innovative mind of mankind for the real feelings of omnipotent God. God, ekam vyavasat vipra bahuda vadanti. Ek, only omnipotent God. Ekam vyavasat vipra bahuda vadanti. That is called and that as a true patriot, Swamiji exhorted. Say, brother, the soil of India is my highest heaven. India is good, is my good. I do not believe in a God who cannot give me bread here. Lala Lajpat Rai, one of the great pillar of the great insurgent nationalism of India, Lal Bal Pal, this is called Lala Lajpat Rai, paid his tribute after the death of Swamiji. Honor of creating a new spirit of national tolerance. Honor of creating a new spirit of national tolerance so that since his death, Indian patriots have gradually freed themselves from their ancient prejudice of Swami, of caste and family. Swamiji understood nationalism as not narrow concept of nations, as an imagined community narrated by Marxist scholar Benedict Anderson. What is imagined community? Imagined community is on the basis of our language, religion, that is called the centric nationalism. That is called on the basis of the ethnic culture. But this is the very important point. Swamiji's nationalism meant overwhelming manifestations of the people of achieving their freedom. Development of inner domain by our traditional culture and acceptance of Western science, technology, and mass communication system that is called print nationalism. You can remember that after returning for Chicago, Swamiji told his Guru Bhais, the brothers, Sannyasi brothers, publications of news journals or publications of Putrika, and 1897 that is called the Prabuddha Bharat, and was published after a few months. Udbodhan Putrika was published. This Putrika, it was the mouthpiece of Ramakrishna Vivekananda movement. Mouthpiece, just not the preachings of Thakur, Ma, and Swamiji. Better to say, this Putrika published different philosophical works, historical works, and social cultural works for the proper upliftment of Indian masses. Now, before I would like to highlight that what is the situations of nationalism in the 21st century. Post-colonial era, nationalism continues to shape a heated debate on the agenda of world affairs. Border conflict, Palestine crisis, Rus-Ukraine war and immigration crisis after COVID-19, and the demand of cultural autonomy of indigenous community are throwing challenge against global village. Whenever we are saying, we are discussing, we are habituating the global life, like we like to use the different commodity, that is called the commodity fetishism. Commodity fetishism means the attractions of commodity, and that turns into the commoditized world and the cosmic world, and that commoditization. This is the another crisis of our Indian nationalism. Today, none can escape this ascendance of nationalism. Paradoxically, post-pandemic period, most of the state restricted over the migration influx and citizens' loyalty, like SIR, and the Citizenship Amendment Act, etc. Eventually, nationalism is the ideology of our age. Political vandalism dominates nationalism. It produces aggression and malignant outcome. To resist this, we must think of real nationalism, preaches entire world is our family. That is called the great line of Panchatantra, Vishnugupta's Panchatantra, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Every entire world is our family. Everyone is my relative. This is the one of the principles of our Indian nationalism. For once, and this is the another, this is called for one's own liberation and for the welfare, liberation must think, and for the welfare of the world. That is called the prime motto of Ramakrishna Vivekananda movement for the charging up positive nationalist vibration. Atmanam Makhatam Jagadhitaya. If we visit Ramakrishna Mott or Belur Mott, we'll look in the, that is called frontal gate, there Atmanam Makhatam Jagadhitaya. Swamiji's main idea of nationalism, synthesized in his work Colombo to Almora and Swami Shishya Samvad by Sharat Chandra Chakraborty. Apart from this, if we read Patriot Prophet, written by Swamiji's younger brother Bhupendranath Datta, we'll get different references and the outlook and philosophy of Swami Vivekananda, specifically nationalist philosophy. Said the great revolutionary leader, Dr. Jadugopal Mukherjee, mentioned from 1902 to 1930, there was no better seller in the market than Swamiji's book, especially Colombo to Almora. In his letter to Dr. Bhupendranath Datta, Dr. Mukherjee acknowledged directly or indirectly they influenced by Swamiji's work. I am just reminding you, the first Sri Ramakrishna's poetic biography before the publications of Sri Ramakrishna's biography by Ramakrishna Modern Mission Advaita Ashram, Jadugopal Mukherjee's elder brother, Dhanagopal Mukherjee, published his famous book, Face of Silence. And after that, this book has been edited by Swami Nikhileshananda. And I would also like to remember that This book was the first English book, and through this book, Sri Ramakrishna's name were known by Europe and America. And this is the another point of view that Romarola was inspired when Romarola was exiled in Vienna after the First World War. Romarola met with Dhanagopal Mukherjee, and he was inspired by his book, and the famous book, the two famous books, Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda, was published, and this book was translated. First English this book translated by Russian language in 1938. And our Joseph Stalin, the great Marxist leader, Joseph Stalin, or the dictator, Joseph Stalin had given permission for the publications of these two books in 1938. Now, I would like to concentrate these views of Swami Vivekananda's nationalism. Before that, I must highlight the views of APJ Abdul Kalam inspired by Swami Vivekananda. APJ Abdul Kalam has given 10 pillars program and 10 pillars program for the definitions of nations. What is nations? In nations where the rural and urban divide has reduced to thin line, there will be no discrimination between urbanized people and agrarian people. Swamiji, it was the Swamiji's vision. A nation where there is equitable distribution and adequate access to energy and quality water. A nation where agriculture, industry, and service sector work together. There will be no discrimination. There will be no underestimate. A nation which is the best destination for the most talented scholars, scientists, and investors. A nation where education with value system is not denied to any meritorious candidate because of societal economic discrimination. A nation where the best of healthcare is available to all. Number 7, a nation where the governance is responsive, transparent, and corruption free. A nation where poverty has been totally eradicated, illiteracy removed, and crime against women and children are absent, and none in the society feel alienated. 9, a nation that is prosperous, healthy, secure, peaceful, happy, and follows a sustainable growth path. Number 10, a nation that is one of best places to live in and is proud to its leadership. Swamiji dreamed these pillars of development for making modern India. Revered monks of Ramakrishna Mott and Mission, bearing this patriotic zeal, and dedicated their service to the people and service to the God. Extended their karma jagga all over the nations for socio-economic, cultural regeneration and uplifting Indian mass. It is very much unfortunate bureaucratization, partitizations, and corruption destroy the ignited mind of us, specifically Indian youth. the most powerful resources of modern nation in making process. In this decadent condition of our nation, after 70 years, independence just reminds Vivekananda's enthusiastic voice. জাগো বীর, কুচায় স্বপন শিওরে সমন জাগে, দুঃখ ভারে ভব সংসার ভয়ে কি তোমার সাজে? Arise, awake, and stop not. Goal is reached. This is the very important point. That goal is feeding up 400 millions by 2 days. Vivekananda admonished material civilization. And he said, nay, even luxury, it is necessary to create work for poor. Now, that is very important point that the idea at the present context, then what is the nationalism? I have given the idea of the nations, and then what is the nationalism? The idea of nationalism in the 21st century mainly classified two themes: ethnic nationalism on the basis of ethnic culture, language, religion, and geopolitical autonomy. And that is called, that we can say, that is the sub-nationalist view of sub-nationalism. Sub-nationalism emerged in the different part of India on the basis of the demand for linguistic autonomy, demand for economic autonomy, and demand for the separation from India, and that is the very two terrorist movement. Very important terrorist movement occurred, like the Punjab Khalistan's movement, Kashmir, and different part like the Northeast is burning, standing on the burning fire, but burning turbulence. Now, Swamiji, in this perspective, Vivekananda's narrative of nationalism is just not that line of ethno or cosmo, but greater than two, merely a practice of Vedanta for the great pronouncement of humanism and universalism. Vivekananda devoted its practice of Gyan Yoga and Karma Yoga for making modern India through the feeling of universal brotherhood and fraternity. Conceptually, India is not nations, rather than great extensions of deep cultural enlightenment through the positive connections between the two lines of thinking. Now, Swami Vivekananda's life, thoughts, and work, spiritual quest, every subject has been metabolized for India. Throughout his 39 years life, he dedicated himself to the uprooted and impoverished masses of India. Doriddo Narayana Bhava, Gana Narayana Bhava, development of human capability, physical, mental, spiritual development for transforming Indian society. Development of 3H: health, heart, and head. Healthy body, resistance, Swamiji said, make our muscles iron and nerve of steel. That is called, Bhojpuri language mein kata hai, although I do not know Bhojpuri language, but some I have heard, that is called the Mat Ka Jawani. This is the very important part for making the real patriot for the nations. Heartfelt love for all, and where the mind is without fear and a desire. Rabindranath Tagore wrote, where the mind is without fear and a desire, chitta jeta uchcha mama sattva jeta sthir, জ্ঞান যেটা সত্য, যেটা সাহিত্যের প্রাচীর। Finally, should be fitted for practice of their autonomy or right to self-determination. Right to self-determinations, I may just focus very four important point which had been given by Immanuel Kant in the 18th century in his work that is called What is Enlightenment? What is enlightenment? Enlightenment is the four important parts of development. One is encourage. That is called courage. Courageous boys to fight against cowardiceness. Swamiji said courage. Rationality. What rationality? Rationality is not confined by our day-to-day practice. Rationality is confined by the truth. Number three, knowledge. Knowledge is self-purification, self-perception, Immanuel Kant says. And number four, the freedom, that is called real autonomy of life. If I am able to justify by myself, if I am able to check up my body, I am a real doctor of myself. Immanuel Kant says, Gandhiji said line expressed, line of thinking expressed. Now, at the Parliament of Chicago, Swamiji addressed sisters and brothers of America. Why he first used the terms ever used sister? Swamiji paid respect to world womenhood. That's why he used sisters and brothers of America. The 7,000 attendants or 7,000 participants of that meeting, Chicago Parliament, Religions Parliament, clap, applauded. And Swamiji said that they concentrated themselves on handsome Hindu sadhu's lecture. Delegates was inspired by Swamiji's thought of Hinduism. And Hinduism is Indianism. What Indianism? Swamiji repeatedly expressed the great spiritual tolerance of his motherland, that is El Dorado or Golden Land. That we are proud of our ancient Aryan culture, heritage, that is sister Christians here in our reminiscences. Our love for India came to birth, I think, when he first heard him say that word, India, in that marvelous voice of his. It seems incredible that so much could have been put into one small word of 5 letters. There was love, passion, pride, longing, tragedy, and again love. Love is the internal. When I was a student of higher secondary, my respected teacher says, what is love? Love is an eternal flow. It is the immune, that is called the love is, you cannot confine with a single sentence. That is the one type of agony, like the Radha, Siradhika Shakti. Chandidas wrote, that is called Radhar ki oilo antorer ব্যথা বসিয়া বিরলে থাকিয়া থাকায় একলে না শুনেন কাহারো কথা সদাই ধ্যানে চাহেন গোপানে না শোনে কাহারো কথা. Love, the full form of love, L for longevity, O for oceanic, V for valentality, E for eternity. This is love. Swamiji traveled Kashmir to Kanyakumari on foot to observe its natural beauty, diversity of its people, the sorrow, social oppression, exploitation, discriminations, and dialectics of nature in order to prepare man-making program for future India. In in course of a letter to Kidi on 3rd March 1894 for Chicago, Swamiji criticized against meaningless sentimentalism and love is great path of nationalism, which assimilates everyone for the great visions of togetherness and the harmony of the world, of what we believe. Swamiji shares this idea. We preach neither social equality nor social inequality, but that everyone has the same right, insist upon freedom, thought, and action in every day. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa Dev in 19th century first narrated religion from the universal pillar of harmony, but according to different circumstances of economy, culture, and practice of day-to-day social life in the certain geographic space. Men practice their religion according to their own choice. That's why we differentiate between jal, pani, and water. But the content is same. Swamiji did not like the jugglery of language and religious fanaticism. The great teachings and noble visions of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa. Post-colonial scholars like Parthu Chatterjee and Ashish Nandi shares their view from the subaltern approach or subaltern studies of history. Before Parthu Chattopadhyay, post-colonial thinkers, Marxist scholars like Sumit Sarkar, Tonika Sarkar, and others criticized against Ramakrishna's Paramahansa's behaviors, and they thought that they expressed their view in the different books that it was nothing but a magic, jugglery, hypnotism, this word they used. But Parthu Chattopadhyay, Ashish Nandi, and other post-colonial thinkers narrated the views of Sri Ramakrishna and Ramakrishna Vivekananda, the role of Ramakrishna Vivekananda movement from different concepts. They were inspired by post-Marxist ideology of Antonio Gramsci's subaltern approach. Antonio Gramsci was the communist leader, Marxist scholar in Italy when fascism under fascist rule continued in Italy. Antonio Gramsci was arrested and his famous book, Jailkhana Diary, Prison's Diary. From that point of view, from that approach, Parthu Chattopadhyay, Ashish Nandi, they exchange their view that the Ramakrishna Vivekananda movement was established counter ideology and or counter ideological hegemony in the end of 19th century. Ramakrishna the first had given knowledge the difference between Roshik Mathur and Keshav Chandra Sen. Difference is social position. Our divine master himself claimed open drain of Roshik Vita for comprehending Brahma. Where is Brahma? Swamiji never stigmatized emergence of nationalism is a contributions of westernized middle class consciousness by his clarion voice he called Rise of Masses. Bhupendranath Datta commented, Swami Vivekananda was the first person in the world who envisaged government of toiling masses and prophesied about the proletarian culture of the future. The term proletarian culture means the mass culture, culture of the combinations of Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Sudra. After Swami Vivekananda, Rishi Aurobindo, in his different articles in the Indumoti Puttika, Indu Prakash Puttika, he deserved the proletarian revolution through the mass struggle, mass movement. Bhupendranath Datta commented, Swami Vivekananda was the first person of the world who emphasized government of toiling masses, prophesied about the proletarian culture of the future. Maybe Sri Ramakrishna was a ruralistic Brahman, but he shaped new Protestant religious movement according to post-Marxist scholars or post-subaltern scholars like Pattu Chattopadhyay. During 19th century, Ramakrishna Dev or Ramakrishna Paramahansa Dev first given the idea there is no difference between the Jesus Christ, Allah and Ma Kali. In his book, in his article, Fragments of Nations and the Subaltern Studies, edited by Ranajit Guha, Volume 6, Pattu Chattopadhyay shares his opinion that for Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa's simplistic lifestyle proved two dimensions of religion. One is subjective morality and relative truth. Number two, the absolute truth. Ma Jagadambe, Shama Ma ki Gurache Guri. Ma Jagadambe, that very important point. Sama under that is called the great song composed by Ram Prasad Sen in the 19th century. That is called Samama ki. We are nothing but a time and time. We are nothing but the hands. We are nothing but a latai of flying kites. Ma Kali, just not the icons. Ma Kali is the great reflections of light beyond all darkness, beyond the sky. Swamiji's famous poem Kali the Mother, which was written in 1897 in Kashmir at the dead night of Kir Bhavani Mandir near. That's why Swamiji's views of nationalism developed from the universal harmony and universal acceptance of God. Turning my mind from this hypo narrative to the feelings of nationalism, which has been expressed by Swamiji's later. We preach neither social equality nor social inequality. Swamiji identified nationalism from the certain missions of themes, but subject of fundamental difference. When Persian came to India, they could not pronounce the name of river Sindhu and used H in place of S. Even Greek invader used traced on I for pronouncing of Sindhu. That consequently, the concept of Hindu is not religion rather than practice of cultural life and purifications of self as practice of soul pray that in Namaste Sada Vatsale Marti Bhume Taya Hindu Bhume Sukham Vardito Hayam Mahamangale Punna Bhume Namaste Sakhaya Tadatte Gadatte. The great mantra of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangha. Just I am referring it. Please don't think that I am a committed workers of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangha. I am not that. But this is the very basic principle. Namaste Sada Vatsale Marti Bhume. May Almighty, that is called Swamiji's another visions of nationalism. May Almighty strengthen us with Sanskritization of the Hindu. We glorify ourselves to the adoption of science, technology, and culture. When Ramakrishna Mission's constitution or rules of law was drafted, Swamiji was very much conscious regarding the motto of Ramakrishna mission. Missions noted their primary responsibility towards modern civilization is the acceptance of spiritual vibration with harmony and tolerance, and the development of science and technology. Swamiji comprehended the real feelings of nationalism and nation building process might only be possible by the manifestations of education for the purifications of inner divinity. Shiksha. Without education, it is not possible to develop myself. This realistic thinking reminds us the conjugations and assimilations of ethnocentric nationalism and print nationalism after the industrial revolutions of 19th century. The concept of nationalism, India's concept of nationalism, is quite different from Western concept of nationalism. European nationalism developed after the glorious revolution in England in 1688 and industrial revolution. I just highlights famous book's name that is called The Two Treatises of the Government, written by John Locke. John Locke's concept of Westland or Westland theory. Westland theory is everyone has his own right to cultivate land. That is called, because land is the natural rights for everyone. But John Locke, in his two treatises, John Locke says, when land is virgin, when land is not used, that may be occupied, and this Westland policy becoming a principal policy or prime policy for the extensions of British colonialism in 17th century. British colonial power was first established in USA through the capturing of the wasteland or uncultivated land. But John Locke denied the rights of the colonized people. The extensions of colony for the accumulations of capital was the prime content for the development of Western nationalism, was the prime motto of Western nationalism. And they occupied US land and they established 13 colonies in USA. Swamiji, and they achieved freedom after their continuous struggle. They achieved freedom 4th July of 1776. Swamiji wrote a poem, 4th July on the anniversary of USA's Independence Day. Behold the dark cloud melt away that gathered thick at night, like and hung. So gloomy pall above the earth, before the magic sounds the world awake. The spirit of nationalism of Great Britain and the spirit of nationalism of France in the 18th century is quietly different. French Revolution was occurred in 1789, 14 July, and declared human rights charter. But Indian nationalism is quietly different. The emergence of Indian nationalism was started by two different thinkings. One is westernized nationalism. That westernized nationalism is the idea of Western educated class, like Western educated class means in the 19th century, Bengal, Bombay and others. They started agitation to the constitutional movement. And second is, this is the very important point, that the marginalized movement, peasants movement, etc., etc. And the like Fakir movement and Sannyas Vidro, etc. Although this is the very important part for the emergence of Indian nationalism. And on the occasions of sesquicentennial celebrations of Vande Mataram, this is the very important point that Swami Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay wrote, Sujalang Shufalang Malaya Jasitalam, Shasya Shamalang Mataram, Vande Mataram. Just we may recollect that is still a very important point and very important part for the emergence of nationalism. Swamiji similarly said, for the next 50 years, Bharat Mata shall be our worship. He declared, our great mother India, let all other vain gods disappear from our mind. This is the only God. This is the awake, our own race. Everything, her hands, everything, her feet, everything, her ears. May our way of worship to our motherland. India for next 100 years, and by his clarion voice, he calls for devotion and self-immersion for the national liberation struggle. From Rishi Aurobindo to Hemchandra Ghosh, innumerous martyrs accepted his line of thinking and tolerated, tortured, brutally tortured, and hanged to death for, again by the British colonial barbarism. Swamiji's youngest brothers wrote in his forwarded note, Swami Vivekananda, patriot prophet, that according to his elder brother's vision, a nation meant the people. He wanted the upliftment and freedom on the Indian people. He wanted the material and moral advancement of the same by the word people. It did not mean a political term, but the masses who contribute the major portions of humanity living in India. Once Sakalam Ganesh Deuskar, the great revolutionary leader of Maharashtra, met with Swamiji and asked the futures of the country. Swamiji answered, the country has become a powder magazine. A little spark may ignite it. I will say the revolution in my lifetime. Swamiji, when Deuskar further asked the revolution whether would be occurred by foreign help, Swamiji answered, no, the India will not make mistake the fourth time. I know several princes who can successfully carry on the revolution. Before his death, Swamiji had taken plan for revolution, and he made friendship with the gunmaker country. See, gunmakers She said Hiram Maxim, but he did not get response from the country. Swamiji disappointedly said, the country is dead. Miss MacLeod said, his younger brother, Bhupendranath Datta in 1911, in the USA and CID officer, Denham told her that whenever they want to search revolutionary house, they found the book of Swami Vivekananda. Thus, it has been no wonder that the police wanted to ban the mission. Swamiji anticipated the mass revolution must be occurred either Russia or China. But Karl Marx said the proletarian revolution must be held in Britain. This is the real difference between spiritual anticipation and materialistic anticipation. Swamiji's opinion on the Indian nationalist movement, the Indian must be united for all around freedom. Modern India admits spiritual equality of all souls, but strictly keep the socially difference. No apostle of nationalism has exercised greater influence over masses in the 20th and 21st century than Swami Vivekananda. Just remind a line of thinking from the confidential report of British Police Commissioner Charles Taggart. Vivekananda's own writing are pregnant with sedition. Allow me to say, pregnant with patriotism through cultural, spiritual revolution in the public sphere of the life world. Thanking you. Namaskar. Ashato ma satgamaya, tamasho ma jyotirgamaya, mrityulma amritangamaya, rudrayatta daksinamukham, te namang paimam nityam.
थैंक यू बंदोपाध्याय जी। आपने बहुत अच्छे ढंग से विवेकानंदी और उनका जो नेशनलिज्म का जो दृष्टिकोण था उस पर बहुत अच्छे ढंग से आपने वक्तव्य दिया। मैं स्वामी भावात्मानंद महाराज से निवेदन करता हूं कि आदरणीय सुस्वागत बंदोपाध्याय जी के वक्तव्य के संदर्भ में और अपनी टिप्पणी के साथ आने की कृपा करेंगे। स्वामी भावात्मानंद महाराज।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे बंदोपाध्याय जी। आपने बहुत ही अच्छे ढंग से और बहुत ही विस्तार से स्वामी विवेकानंद के रामकृष्ण के विचारों को लेकर नेशनलिज्म, राष्ट्रीयता को आपने बतलाया और बहुत सारे रेफरेंसेस दिए। रामकृष्ण विवेकानंद पर जो पहली पुस्तकें जो छपी थी, यदु गोपाल मुखर्जी का, धनु गोपाल मुखर्जी की पुस्तकों का आपने रेफरेंस दिया, जिसके आधार पर उस पुस्तक का अनुवाद रसिया में, कम्युनिस्ट कंट्री में, स्टालिन के समय में उस पुस्तक का अनुवाद हुआ। इन चीजों की आपने चर्चा की, रोमा रोला के बारे में आपने पूरी बातें बतलाई और स्वामी विवेकानंद के भाई भूपेंद्रनाथ दत्त आदि की भी चर्चा की, दोनों भाइयों की चर्चा की। दोनों भाई बड़े विद्वान थे, उनकी भी चर्चा की, उनकी पुस्तकों की भी चर्चा की। और अपने भारत एक राष्ट्र है, इसके विषय में आपने इंडिया, INDIA, इसमें आपने बड़े ही अच्छे ढंग से नए नए शब्दों का आपने प्रयोग किया और साथ ही स्वामी विवेकानंद से जोड़ते हुए कि स्वामी विवेकानंद जब इंडिया शब्द का उच्चारण किया करते थे तो इनके शिष्यों में, पाश्चात्य शिष्यों में, भारतवर्ष या इंडिया शब्द बोलने से कैसे उन शिष्यों में भारत के प्रति एक प्रेम जाग जाता था, किस प्रकार भारत के प्रति उनकी संवेदनाएं जागृत हो जाती थी और वो भारत आने के लिए उत्सुक हो जाते थे। इन बातों की आपने बहुत ही विशद चर्चा की और अंत में जाकर के आपने पाश्चात्य दृष्टिकोण से राष्ट्रीयता का शुरुआत कब हुआ, कैसे हुआ, और भारतवर्ष से क्या अंतर आया, भारतवर्ष की राष्ट्रीयता से क्या अंतर है। आपने इसकी बहुत ही चर्चा की, विशद चर्चा की, किंतु भाषा इंग्लिश होने के कारण बहुत सारी चीजें मैं व्यक्तिगत रूप से उसे ग्रास्प नहीं कर पाया। और मेरी इच्छा यह है कि एक दो बातें आप हमें फिर से हिंदी में ही सही, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, हिंदी में आप अपनी टूटी हिंदी में भी बोलेंगे या बंगला में भी बोलेंगे वो भी चलेगा, इंग्लिश में भी बोलेंगे तो चलेगा ही, मिला जुला करके हिंदी बंगला इंग्लिश मिला जुला करके, कोई बात नहीं, खिचड़ी करके भी हम लोगों को भाषा से कोई ये नहीं है, लेकिन क्लैरिटी तभी आएगी जब विभिन्न भाषाओं में आप बोलेंगे। तो यह कि एक तो भारतवर्ष के विषय में जो आपने उसकी व्याख्या की, INDIA स्टैंड्स फॉर इनोवेशन, डिविनिटी, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा, इसकी एक बार और चर्चा करें। एक नंबर। दो नंबर, राष्ट्रीयता के संबंध में मुझे यह जानने की इच्छा है कि हाउ इज स्वामी विवेकानंदा's concept of nationalism is has some distinct features. What are the distinct features of Swami Vivekananda's nationalism? आप कृपया बांग्ला हिंदी दोनों या इंग्लिश में मिला जुला करके आप एक बार कृपया इसकी फिर से आप चर्चा करें तो मुझे बहुत खुशी होगी। धन्यवाद।
सुस्वागत जी, प्लीज अपना माइक ऑन करें।
ठीक है,
हाँ, माइक आपका, हाँ, ओके।
प्रणाम महाराज।
हाँ, प्रणाम प्रणाम। हाँ, मैं लेट होने के लिए वेरी सॉरी। वो क्या कहता है, कुछ इमरजेंसी बढ़ गया ऑल ऑफ ए सडन एक पेशेंट का, तो मैं लेट हो गया 15 मिनट, क्षमा करेंगे। हाँ, धन्यवाद। कृपया प्लीज गो ऑन।
नमस्ते, प्रणाम महाराज। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, स्वामी विवेकानंद जो जातीयतावाद का चिंता भावना अध्ययन दिए ना, कंटेम्पररी पीरियड, स्वामी जी फर्स्ट developed the idea of cultural revolution, not Mao Zedong. What cultural revolution? Cultural revolution means to adopt Oriental culture, and to adopt Oriental culture, that is we have Indian, we have own culture, and to adopt Western culture or Occidental culture, combination between two. This is a totally different idea. বাঙালি জাতির কোনো ইতিহাস নেই। India has no certain history. India has no development, mental and physical and spiritual developmental history. Swami Vivekananda first proved the history is our tradition. History is to accept Western idea, Occidental idea. Swami Vivekananda, not only science, philosophy, Occidental, Western philosophy, like Kant, like Descartes, like Hume, like John Locke, Aristotle. It is total philosophical Western philosophy. He combined between two. This is the very important point. Number one. Number two, Swami Vivekananda first has given the idea of educational development. Education means man-making education. Education means that is called first theoretical development and skill enhancement program. Skill, that is called the vocational training. Swami Vivekananda given two type of traditional educations, and that is school education, reading, writing, and arithmetics. And number two, vocational training, that is called skill enhancement program. Ramakrishna Mission started skill enhancement program. Number three, health program, development, nutritious food, and development of health. Before Swamiji, None of the political thinkers has not given this idea, physical, mental, and spiritual aid. That's Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi wrote, this is called very important point. Swami Vivekananda's book, reading of Swami Vivekananda's book inspired me. And Swami Vivekananda was a great patriot in his lecture 1921 at Belur Mott. Number 4, that means first, economic development, cultural development. What will be the political development? Swami Vivekananda first held the idea of the democracy that will not be based on the Western form of democracy. Democracy means that Rabindranath Tagore লোক আমরা সবাই রাজা রাজাদেরই রাজার রাজত্বে নইলে মোদের রাজার সাথে মিলবো কি শর্তে. What democracy? Democracy for all. When we say the decentralization of power, Swamiji's vision. Democracy for the mass. Mass means that the constructive idea of democracy. That's why that Swami Vivekananda's idea is quietly different from the other Oriental or Westernized thinkers, Westernized Indian thinkers. Swami Vivekananda has given the concept of public sphere. Public sphere is not the coffee house. Public sphere is not the formations of association. Swami Vivekananda has given the idea. The public sphere is just to go to the field and try to motivate the local people, marginalized people for the proper development. And just to think, we are not one, we are not alone, we are the same boat, brothers. Swami Vivekananda has given this idea. Thank you. I'm not getting your voice, Maharaj.
Thank you, Susagato Babu. One thing more about India, you had said some symbols of the words you abbreviated. Was the abbreviation I stands for INDIA. Each word, each letter stands for divinity, innovation. Yeah, please. So your sound is not coming. Kindly unmute.
What is our idea? I for international. What is our
Achha.
thinking? Our holy text is Chondit, Nayan Stuti, 5 lines, stanza. Tang Vaishnavi Shakti Ananta Vijwa, Visse Sabijang Paramasi Maya, Sammohitang Devi Samastametat, Tang Vai Prasanna Bhubi Mukti Hetu. Liberation? Liberation not for just me. Tang Vaishnavi Shakti Ananta Vijwa. What is Vaishnavi Shakti? Vaishnavi is a creation. Vishnu, creation. Vaishnavi Shakti Ananta Vidya. Vidya, courage. Courageous was lion, leonine. That's like a lion. Swamiji several times says, think just to be a lion. Lion.
So this
that
is
means
internationalism, and there N stands for
nation. What
Oh, okay.
nations? Nation is
Achha.
the combination between the traditional culture. Nation is combination between rituals and natural
Oh,
culture.
then,
That is
right.
called Chhat Pujo and Durga Pujo. Nation
Okay,
is
then.
the acceptance of the Western idea. Western idea is to accept the different thinkings, philosophy, science, technology, and the market. Because this is the very important point. Today, in the era of the globalization, we like to use the KFC chicken, or that is called very important, the chicken burger, or whatever you can say. At the same time, we used to like the क्या बोलता है पूजा का देता है लिट्टी or litti choka, or this is called very famous. My wife and my daughter like to eat, take it. This is called very very
And yeah, and D stands for divinity.
okay.
D stands for divinity,
Divine.
and I stands for innovation.
Innovative mind. Innovation just
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, innovation. And A stands for
absoluteness. Sarvam
absoluteness.
khalidam brahmo.
Oh,
Ekam meva
absolute.
satvitva bahuda vadanti. Ayam rudre vivasudva.
It's very good.
And
Yeah, it's a very good point. You have indicated it, and I would request our uh, uh, honorable members, friends, to interact with the learned scholar, Sri Suswagata Bandyopadhyay ji,
Uh,
दयानंद जी,
Dayanand
दयानंद
Mishra
जी है,
Sahab.
डॉक्टर सुशांत कुमार है. हाँ, आप लोग भी कुछ बोल सकते हैं, दयानंद जी. रामनाथ गुप्ता हैं. हाँ.
प्रणाम महाराज जी। ये मेरा एक दो प्रश्न है। एक कि इंडिया का डेफिनेशन जो है वो स्वामी जी का जो लेक्चर्स है उसके किस वॉल्यूम में है? पहली बात तो
इंडियन
INDIA का जो
वो
डेफिनेशन अभी
इंडिया का,
दिया गया, क्या महाराज
ये
जी?
स्वामी ये स्वामी जी का नहीं है.
ये
ये
इनका है?
इट इज ऑथर्स इंटरप्रिटेशन
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा
रिगार्डिंग
अच्छा
रिगार्डिंग व्हाट इज नेशन, व्हाट टाइप ऑफ इंडिया इज ए नेशन. वो
अच्छा अच्छा
इस
अच्छा
तरह का इंटरप्रिटेशन में इन्होंने कहा कि हमारे नेशनलिज्म के को एक्सप्लेन करने में INDIA का क्या अर्थ हो सकता है. दिस इज वन.
अच्छा
अच्छा,
अच्छा
स्वागत है बाबू. और भी एक चीज, जो स्वामी विवेकानंद के अनुसार नेशन नेशन जो एक शब्द है, नेशन तो एक यूनिफाइंग फोर्स रहता ही है. ट्रेडिशन रहे, इंटरनेशनलिज्म रहे, कोई भी रहे, एक फीलिंग रहता है, एक थॉट रहता है, एक यूनिटी रहती है, वननेस रहता है, ये तो रहता ही है. लेकिन स्वामी विवेकानंद के अनुसार वह कौन सा आइडिया है, व्हाट इज दैट आइडिया around which the whole nation can be
रिवॉल्व
uh, can be tied together, can be brought in one under one umbrella. What is that? According to Swami Vivekananda, वो तो वेस्टर्न फिलोसफी के अनुसार, वेस्टर्न पॉलिटिकल साइंस के अनुसार ये तो टेरिटरी है. स्वामी जी के अनुसार क्या हो सकता है? व्हाट विल ब्रिंग अस ऑल टुगेदर? आप देखिए हमारा कल्चर, कश्मीर का कल्चर, नॉर्थ ईस्ट का कल्चर, केरला मैसूर का कल्चर, समानता भी है किंतु बहुत लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंस इज देयर. फूड हैबिटेट, क्लोथिंग्स, वे ऑफ स्पीकिंग, आवर टोन, थिंकिंग में भी वो डिफरेंस है. तो स्वामी विवेकानंद के अनुसार कौन सा ऐसा थॉट है जिसको भारतवर्ष में प्रचार करने से, प्रसार करने से, फैलाने से सारे व्यक्ति एक हो सकते हैं? यूनिफाइंग फोर्स क्या है इंडिया का?
just a minute. Pranam Maharaj.
हाँ, प्रणाम.
Unifying force is several times I'm telling you that Sanskriti, Sanskar, Sanskriti, you may perform your own culture, own tradition. At the same time, you have to accept the other's culture. Already in the market world, that is called the commodity world, has proved the combinations of two cultures. We like to take hamburger or KFC chickens, or we like to wear the different Western dress. At the same time, we like to wear the ethnic dress. This is the combinations of culture. We like to participate in the Chhat Puja. We like to participate the different rituals. At the same time, we like to participate national festivals. Just Ramakrishna Mission, Belur Mott, and during Chhat Puja, they open their door for bathing the holy lovers Congas. At the same time, Durga Puja. We observe Jesus Christ's birthday. Although this birthday is not the birthday, it is the controversial matter. It is not birthday of the Jesus Christ. But yet we observe the birthday of the Jesus Christ. We observe different festivals. The life is the culture. Life is economy. Economy and culture can meet together. That is called the very important point of development. Why economy? For your food. For your food.
बहुत बहुत बहुत
Demanding of
बहुत बहुत
food.
धन्यवाद बहुत धन्यवाद आगे कृपया प्रोफेसर SNP सिंह साहब आप आगे बढ़ाएं धन्यवाद
अरुणेंद्र नाथ राय जी बंबई से जुड़े हैं अरुणेंद्र नाथ राय जी
जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद नारायण सर
जी
I have like a question to the speaker and it's in two parts. The first part being this entire lecture was about nationalism. Where does patriotism stands in in light of nationalism? And also the second part of the question, like there are several Western scholars, as in the definition of India itself, the speaker was mentioning to accept in the definition of N for nationalism. He mentioned that we should be considering Western views. So there are very, or the time itself he mentioned, where nationalism came in the European one. So there are like very you can say very famous quotes where people mention that if someone can't find anything to be proud of on their own, they find nationalism as the last refuge to it. Or so, what is your view on this?
Please repeat again, please.
So,
what is your question? Make it clear first.
Okay, so my question has two parts. First part is, where does patriotism stands in light of nationalism?
Achha.
And the second part is, in Western ideas, or so there is a very famous person, Arthur Scrofenger, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. If you want, I can spell it. So
you can just change.
Yeah, so
Please.
he said that the cheapest sort of pride is national pride. For if a man is proud of his own nation, he argues that he has no qualities of his own, or mostly to say it, if anyone can't find anything of their own to be proud of, they find nationalism as the last refuge. That was the question, sir.
Yeah.
First of all, nationalism itself a part of patriotism. If we do not be a nationalist, it is not possible to develop our own love of nations. The patriotism is a love for the nations. Love for nations means I am ready to dedicate myself for the overall development of the nations. Just not fighting against the British colonialism, and just we will be the stakeholders for national's development. This is the real feelings of the patriotic zeal. And that's why Swami Vivekananda says, patriot means just not to fight against British colonialism, but to develop yourself for the making of modern India. Number one. Number two, your second question, it is my extremely sorry to say, I couldn't understand what you want to know.
I just repeat his words. What he said that there are some scholars even nowadays who claim that if you do not have anything good in your country, any good culture, anything to contribute to the world, there is nothing to be proud of your own, then you take up patriotism. Patriotism is a means only to show oneself that I am doing something, I have something.
Already I gave this answer. This is called nationalism. Patriotism is a means. This is called if I guess I am giving you the lecture, this is not a part of my patriotism. I must have to serve for the nations. This is the real devotion, and this is the real development of our own nationalist idea, and to be a patriot for the service of the nations. Thank you.
Really. Thank you. सुशांत जी,
सर
सुशांत जी जमशेदपुर से जुड़े हुए हैं।
सर मेरा ये प्रश्न ये है सर कि यदि ये कहे वेस्ट फिलॉसफी के लिए से वेस्टर्न एंड इंडियन ये दोनों फिलॉसफी को यदि कंपेयर करे तो वेस्टर्न फिलॉसफी जो प्लेटो के दर्शन सोक्रेटस और उनके शिष्य प्लेटो और जैसा कि व्हाइटहेड ने कहा कि ये वेस्टर्न फिलॉसफी में आगे जो कुछ भी हुआ वो प्लेटो के फिलॉसफी के ऊपर फुट नोट्स है, उससे अधिक कुछ नहीं। और इंडियन फिलॉसफी में देखिए जिनका आधार हमारे यहाँ श्रुति प्रस्थान जो उपनिषद इसको कह सकते हैं ये वहां से, तो उसमें ब्रह्म और ब्रह्म के माया, उसमें ये प्रकृति के गुण और ये गुण को कहते हैं कि ये ब्रह्म के ऊपर, अब इसी पर सारा आगे का है सारा दर्शन, ये प्रकृति ये ब्रह्म और उसके गुण के बीच क्या संबंध उसको लेकर। लेकिन कभी ये यहाँ की जो परंपरा रही वो गुणों के आश्रयदाता के रूप में ब्रह्म को स्वीकार किया जो मूल तत्व है। जबकि वेस्टर्न फिलॉसफी में देखिए प्लेटो का फिलॉसफी जो उसका फाउंडेशन है उसमें जो परंपरा वहां स्टेब्लिश हो गई वो ये कि जो गुण जिसको वो आइडिया कहते हैं या फॉर्म, एरिस्टोटल जो फॉर्म कहते हैं आइडिया फॉर्म, उसको वो ये सब्सटेंशियल एग्जिस्टेंस मान लिए और मैटर जिसके ऊपर वो सारे क्वालिटीज रहते हैं वो अपने आप में वो कुछ भी नहीं है, वो नॉट बीइंग मान लिए। तो वो तो जस्ट विपरीत हो गया ये दोनों चीज। तो ये दोनों में समन्वय कैसे हो सकता है? ये दोनों तो भिन्न धारा में बह रहा है। आगे का स्पिनोजा से पहले तक तो किसी भी फिलोसफर वेस्टर्न फिलोसफर ने वो जो भी ये किया उन दोनों को अब ये ऐसा नहीं लग रहा है कि इंडियन फिलोसफी को यदि हम ये कहें कि नहीं वो कंटेंट में कहीं यदि हम समानता दिखाना चाहे तो ऐसा नहीं लग रहा है कि ये जबरदस्ती है एक तरह का, ये दोनों की तो विशेषता हो गई ना, यही बात।
I'm not getting your voice. I'm not getting.
हाँ, सुशांत बाबू जमशेदपुर में फिलॉसफी के प्राचार्य रहे हैं जमशेदपुर में, और इनका दर्शन शास्त्र से प्रश्न है, दर्शन शास्त्र से जुड़ा हुआ है। आपने जो बतलाया कि स्वामी विवेकानंद ने ईस्टर्न और वेस्टर्न फिलॉसफी में भी एक सामंजस्य लाने की चेष्टा की इनके नेशनलिज्म में, तो इनका कहना है कि प्लेटो का जो सब्सटेंशियल थ्योरी है और इंडिया का जो सब्सटेंशियल थ्योरी है, जैसे ब्रह्म और उसके विभिन्न गुण आदि, ये जो है इस दोनों में मूल डिफरेंस है। दीज टू आर एग्जैक्टली completely different from each others. These two approaches are completely different. तो कैसे स्वामी जी इसको ये एक कंबाइन करना चाह रहे हैं? हाउ कैन इट बी पॉसिबल फिलोसफी में?
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, Mr. Sushant Kumar.
हाँ,
First of all, Plato has given three important ideas. That is called in his book Republic. Number one, that is called justice. Number two, communism. Number three, Plato never recognized women's right. Plato thought that women is a public property like the Nietzsche. Plato think if you want to establish communism, then no marriage, no, women will be the public property. There will be the plate, nothing but a plate or bowls, or for cultive productions and production and just increasing of the children. Okay, this is the final point. And Plato's theory is basically ethical perception. What ethical perception? combinations of three qualities. One is enlightened rulers, warriors, and craftsmen. This is the very important point of the Plato's theory. But what Vivekananda thought? Vivekananda's vision is, Vivekananda says, Plato's idea of communism, ethical communism, we can accept. But we must have to think the existence of Brahma. Every living creature is the success of God. Is the existence of God. Plato never says. Vivekananda Daridya Narayana Bhava. Everyone is a Sri Krishna Dev said. His master Sri Krishna says. There is no difference between Rosik and Kesav Chandra Sen, just difference between social status. But Plato never thought this. This is the very important, and this is the fundamental principles, fundamental truth, and fundamental views of Ramakrishna Vivekananda movement. We never think to, but we never think we are the everyone is the successors of God. Everyone is the creatures of God. But Plato never recognized women's right. But Swamiji recognized. It was not possible. But Aristotle recognized, but not Plato. Aristotle, Swamiji says, women rights, women development. Without women's development, it is not possible. They are the mother. They are not mother. Western, Swamiji accepted Western liberalizations of womenhood. But India, Swamiji wanted the liberalized women with the spiritual enlightenment, that is called the cultural enlightenment, our traditional cultural enlightenment. Sister Nivedita established the Nivedita Girls' School for the development, for the combinations of East and Western culture. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Sushant Babu, anything else?
Sir, the main point is the metaphysical and epistemological and the line of thinking and the way of thinking also differs at the very fundamental level, where ideas become substantial, forms become substantial, and matter is equated with not being, nothing or zero, nothing, and this tries to become something by imitating ideas, by becoming something by getting some reflection of the ideal world, and that metaphysical concept that is different. Here, the Indian context, where the foundation of all philosophical schools, that is the Upanishad, and where Brahma is considered as the original substance, and all qualities and attributes that belong to that substance, belong to that Brahma in some way or the other, whether as Maya, whether as illusion or actual
Sushant
modification.
ji, your
Yes.
question is purely metaphysical and philosophical.
Yes,
We have
sir.
to also to consider that he is political science professor. He teaches
Achha,
political science,
so
but this is
further,
Hmm.
we get into Aristotle, where Aristotle considered the importance of
Yeah.
private property and private family, and the social hierarchies. He recognized everything. There's social hierarchy that is different from the communism of Plato. Uh, yes,
Hmm.
at one place we find that in the philosophy of Plato, the philosopher king, the concept of philosopher king and the social hierarchies, with the divide of any private family and private property, and in the philosophy of Aristotle, private property is considered and private family is also considered. But in Indian context, we find that there is a coherence between these two contradictions. There is a coherence. There is, at the same time, this is considered that guardian of society, the aparigrahi Brahmins. We're not trying to raise any controversy regarding jati and one. The guardian of the society should be aparigrahi. Aparigraha should follow aparigraha. Non-possession. So that equates with Plato, the philosophy of Plato, the philosopher king. And at the same time, here it is recognized the private family also, kul, parivar, kul. The private family, private property, they are also being recognized. So this is somehow we can relate to Aristotle. So here we find a coherence that that resolves the contradiction of these two philosophers also. The, kindly comments.
Thank you, thank you. Professor S.N.P. Singh, kindly continue.
जी महाराज, और किन्हीं के मन में कोई अगर जिज्ञासा हो तो हम लोग के बीच में एक कीर्ति चौधरी करके एक महिला जुड़ी है। कीर्ति चौधरी जी हैं या?
विमेंस कॉलेज कीर्ति।
हाँ, कीर्ति चौधरी जी अगर जुड़ी हैं तो आ जाइए। आपके मन में कोई कुछ बोल सकती हैं तो लेकर आइए अपनी जिज्ञासा। शालिनी भी जुड़ी थी समस्तीपुर कॉलेज से।
ठीक है सर, समय हो रहा है।
हाँ, शालिनी जी अगर हो, कीर्ति जी अगर हो, मन में कोई अगर जिज्ञासा हो तो लेके आ सकते हैं। देवेंद्र कुमार जी विवेकानंद स्टडी सर्किल से देवेंद्र कुमार जी जुड़े हैं। देवेंद्र कुमार जी से निवेदन है कि अगर कोई मन में जिज्ञासा हो।
सर आगे बढ़ाया जाए, समाप्त समय हो गया है
जी, तो हो गया है। तो अब हम अपने कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हुए महाशंकर प्रसाद जी से निवेदन करते हैं कि धन्यवाद ज्ञापन प्रस्तुत करने की कृपा करेंगे। आदरणीय महाशंकर प्रसाद जी हमारे विवेकानंद स्टडी सर्किल के वरिष्ठ सदस्य हैं और आज धन्यवाद ज्ञापन के लिए तैयार होकर हम लोगों के बीच हैं। कृपया।
सबों को सादर प्रणाम। सर्वप्रथम मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं आज के मुख्य वक्ता सुस्वागत बंदोपाध्याय साहब का, जिन्होंने आज विवेकानंद विजन और नेशनलिज्म पर जो वक्तव्य अपना दिया, उन्होंने भले ही इंग्लिश में दी हो लेकिन बहुत सरल ढंग से और बहुत बढ़िया ढंग से उन्होंने हर बिंदु को उन्होंने छुआ है। सभी बिंदुओं को कहते हुए बताते हुए अंत में उन्होंने ये कहा कि स्वामी विवेकानंद हर भारतीयों में देखना चाहते थे इकोनॉमिकली डेवलपमेंट, कल्चरल डेवलपमेंट, एजुकेशनल डेवलपमेंट, स्पिरिचुअल डेवलपमेंट, फिजिकल डेवलपमेंट। इन सारी गुणों को वो हर भारतीयों में देखने का उनका विजन था स्वामी विवेकानंद का, जो हम भारतीयों के लिए सही में इस तरह के विचार को आना चाहिए, इस तरह के विजन हम लोगों के दिमाग में आना चाहिए कि अपने सभी इन बिंदुओं को सुदृढ़ करें। साथ ही मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं, नहीं जुड़ सके हमारे प्रोफेसर आशीष सिन्हा साहब जो इस कार्यक्रम की अध्यक्षता हमेशा करते हैं, किसी कारणवश वे नहीं जुड़ सके, उन्हें भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं हमारे रामकृष्ण मिशन सेवा आश्रम बेला मुजफ्फरपुर के सेक्रेटरी स्वामी भवात्मानंद महाराज जी का, जिन्होंने हर रविवार को ऐसे महानुभावों को, ऐसे विद्वत जनों को हम लोगों के बीच लाते हैं और ऐसे ऐसे टॉपिक जो हम सबको ऐसे दिल में बैठा देते हैं, इस तरह की बातें बोलकर कि हम लोग सोचने के लिए मजबूर हो जाते हैं। इसलिए स्वामी भवात्मानंद महाराज जी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं प्रोफेसर SNP सिंह साहब का, जो हर कार्यक्रम को वेबिनार के साथ साथ अन्य भी जितने भी कार्यक्रम हमारे रामकृष्ण मिशन में होते हैं सभी का संचालन और बड़े ही शानदार ढंग से करते हैं। और ये अवकाश प्राप्त जूलॉजी के हेड से हैं और इनका योगदान जो रामकृष्ण मिशन में है, हम लोग तो सोचते हैं कि सर के तरह कब हम लोग योगदान दे पाएंगे, लेकिन ये तो 24 घंटे के लिए सेवा अपना रामकृष्ण मिशन में देते हैं। मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं आज के इस कार्यक्रम में प्रश्नों के माध्यम से इसको रोचक बनाने में डॉक्टर सुशांत कुमार जो जमशेदपुर से जुड़े हुए थे और उन्होंने अपने प्रश्नों के माध्यम से इस कार्यक्रम को और रुचि बनाया। दयानंद मिश्रा साहब पटना से जुड़े थे, उनका भी टिप्पणी हुई है, उन्हें भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। अरुणेंद्र नाथ राय जो बंबई से जुड़े हुए थे, उन्होंने अपने प्रश्नों के माध्यम से रोचक बनाया। साथ ही इस कार्यक्रम में भाग लेने वाले हमारे स्टडी सर्किल के रामनाथ गुप्ता सर, उन्हें बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। सुधांशु शेखर जी जुड़े हुए थे, उन्हें बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। प्रोफेसर राजेश कुमार सिंह पटना से जुड़े हुए थे लेकिन अभी वो नहीं है, शायद वो रहते तो उनसे भी कुछ प्रश्न होती, उन्हें भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। सीमा सरकार भी जुड़ी हुई थी, उन्हें भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। हमारे बीच राहुल गायन एक नए जो पहले कभी नहीं जुड़े हुए थे लेकिन इस बार जुड़े हुए थे, उन्हें भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। हमारे बीच देवेंद्र कुमार जो विवेकानंद स्टडी सर्किल के मेंबर, उन्हें भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। शालिनी जी जुड़ी हुई थी समस्तीपुर से, जो साइकोलॉजी की प्रोफेसर थी लेकिन अंत में नहीं आ सकी, उन्हें भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। अमरेंद्र नारायण ठाकुर जो मुजफ्फरपुर MS साइंस कॉलेज से रिटायर्ड, वे भी जुड़े हुए थे, उन्हें बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। हमारे बीच देवेंद्र पांडे जो विवेकानंद स्टडी सर्किल के मेंबर जुड़े हुए थे, उन्हें भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। केशव कुमार हमारे विवेकानंद स्टडी सर्किल के मेंबर, उन्हें भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। साथ ही गणेश प्रसाद दास, प्रोफेसर गणेश प्रसाद दास उड़ीसा से जुड़े हुए थे, उन्हें भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। मुक्तेश्वर सिंह भी जुड़े हुए थे, उन्हें भी बहुत धन्यवाद। राजीव मिश्रा जी को भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और कीर्ति चौधरी भी जुड़ी हुई थी, उन्हें भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और प्रोफेसर उमेश कुमार श्रीवास्तव भी हमारे बीच पटना से जुड़े हुए थे, उन्हें भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। चूंकि मैं मोबाइल से जुड़ता हूं, अगर कोई छूट गए हों तो उन सबों को भी अपनी ओर से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और प्रोफेसर SLP सिंह साहब से आग्रह है कि आगे की बात करें सर।
आदरणीय देवेंद्र कुमार, हम लोग के आदरणीय जेल सुपरिटेंडेंट साहब भी कार्यक्रम में जुड़े, उन्हें भी हम धन्यवाद देते हैं। और अब हमारा कार्यक्रम संपन्न होता है। स्वामी भावात्मानंद महाराज से निवेदन है कि कोई विशेष सूचना हो तो कृपया देने की कृपा करेंगे। स्वामी भावात्मानंद महाराज से निवेदन है। स्वामी जी का माइक ऑफ है।
कार्यक्रम की कोई हम लोगों ने तैयारी नहीं की है।
जी।
1-2 दिनों में वो तैयार हो जाएगा, तो मैं अभी फिर आप लोगों को बतलाऊंगा। शुक्रवार तक, बृहस्पति शुक्रवार तक फिर आप सबों को इसकी जानकारी दी जाएगी। कृपया अगले बार भी जुड़ेंगे। आप सबों को मेरी ओर से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। सुस्वागत बाबू को बहुत धन्यवाद, उन्होंने नई नई बातों को उल्लेखित किया जो कि हम लोगों को पढ़ने के लिए भी बहुत ही हमारे स्टडी सर्किल में वैसी किताबें होनी चाहिए। यदि आप लोगों के पास वैसी किताबें उपलब्ध हो तो आप लोग उसे भेज सकते हैं, दे सकते हैं। इसके लिए आपको पहले से ही बहुत धन्यवाद। सुस्वागत।
धन्यवाद। तो आप सबों को अब हमारा कार्यक्रम संपन्न घोषित होता है। हम फिर अगली रविवार को शाम में 3 बजे आप सबों से मिलेंगे और अपने नए कार्यक्रम में को लेकर नए तेवर के साथ आपके सामने आएंगे। धन्यवाद सबों को, धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद। नमस्कार नमस्कार नमस्कार।
नमस्ते सर। 2 घंटे का कार्यक्रम ये होगा हम लोगों का अगले बार। चलिए, बहुत ही अच्छा लगा। सुस्वागत बाबू। आपने आप वो 2 पुस्तक आप हमें भेजेंगे बाद में, यदि आपके पास है तो, या हम लोगों में कोई जाएगा कोलकाता तो आप कृपया उसकी व्यवस्था कर दीजिए।
जरूर जरूर जरूर,
है ना। एक तो वो धनगोपाल मुखोपाध्याय का धनगोपाल वाला, और एक कह रहे थे जो फेस ऑफ द साइलेंस, ये दोनों किताब। और ये नहीं, स्वामी विवेकानंद क्या पैट्रियोटिक सेंट ऑफ
पैट्रियट प्रोफेट,
पैट्रियोटिक प्रॉफिट ऑफ विवेकानंदा, ये दोनों पुस्तक को आप कृपया हमें व्यवस्था करके दीजिएगा। ठीक, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। फिर आपसे बाद में बातें होंगी। प्रणाम प्रणाम। जय राम।
जय ठाकुर, जय मां, जय स्वामी जी। लिविंग फ्रॉम द